a few people. So today we're going to talk about motivation letters, and thank you for the recording. Yeah, so today we're going to talk about motivation letters, first of all, I have to say that the short-term goal for us is to get from you good motivation letters for the selection process, so that you could be nominated for the mobility program. But I suggest that you also consider the long-term goals. That is, motivation letters are more or less the same anywhere, primarily if at some point, for example, if you are a bachelor student and at some point you decide to engage in the master program, you can use the same template, the same ideas that we'll be talking about today. And honestly, covering letters for when you are in the process of being recruited and are looking for a job, they're kind of very similar as well, right? At least the main principles that I will be relating to you are the same. So I will be working today with you in a kind of interactive mode. Sometimes I will be asking you questions, so please keep really alert, okay? Because of some key principles related to motivation letters. So just a second. I'll share the. Let me share the screen. Okay. So just a second. Come on. Oh, okay, can you see it? Can you see the slide? Okay, so the key points about motivation letters, two key points that we will be talking about today is that, first of all, when you write a motivation letter, you have to sound professional. That's the first thing that the reader sees in it. So how do you sound professional? There are two issues that you have to keep in mind. The first one is that you have to stick to the right structure. That is, the motivation letter has to be divided into paragraphs, and each paragraph has its own content. The second thing is that you have to use cliches, that is, specific idioms, transitions, and so on, which are always used in such letters and which also help you to sound professional. Now, you understand that if you stick to the structure, just like everyone else, if you use the same cliches, just like everyone else, so your letter will sound professional, but it will not have a personal touch, and it will not be memorable. It will not stand out as compared to other motivation letters, right? So the second point is that you have to be memorable. You have to provide facts and use storytelling. That is, you have to think in which way you stand out. You have to make the reader remember what you talk about, and you want them to want to have you in their student community. Right? So the presentation, therefore, will be divided into two main parts. We'll be talking about the structure cliches and about facts and storytelling. So speaking about the structure, we always start with greetings. The second part is introduction. That is where you state who you are and what you want. The introduction is the full gist, like everything that the reader has to know about what this letter will be about. Then we pass on to the next paragraph, and it will be your background. At this point, you indicate why you got interested in your field of study. You have to show that you're engaged and you're interested. You have to list specific courses, projects, which contributed to meeting your interests. That is in your program, right? Like, for example, if you say that you're interested in marketing, then you say that I was specifically interested in digital marketing, and that's why I took 3 courses in digital marketing, and I also did a research project in this area. Then you have to show your engagement and achievements. That is with grades and awards. You say that you're top of the class, what your GPA is, that, for example, your project was nominated or actually awarded first place, first prize. And you have to be very specific and provide examples. The next part is about your future plans. So you see how it goes, right? Logically, you go from the past to the future. And your future plans, therefore, include the exchange program. So at this point, there should be one thing is that there is a division, past, future, but then there is also a connection. So the background part has to be related to the future plans. At this point, you have to demonstrate why you're interested in this particular university. Now, one of the very common mistakes or problems is that people write just about the country or the culture. I love the cuisine. I think Paris is a great place to live in, and so on. You could say that, but that's not really complementary to the university. They normally would want you to say why you have chosen them. So, give them a compliment. So how do you compliment the university? How you prove that your choice was conscientious, that your choice was the result of research and thorough thinking. You can do that if you list specifics, that is, professors that are great and famous or have a very interesting, maybe, experience and background. Just like as an example, I knew one student who went to Lewis University. That was not Lewis Business School, it was Lewis University. And she had this a professor. He was talking about the course was dedicated to the sociology of terrorism. And the thing is that he actually, to do his research in the area, he went undercover into a terrorist group and spent some time with them. So he had this firsthand experience and expertise in the area, and so that was really fun. That was really interesting. So if you find something like that about the professors and you actually mention that in your letter, that's great. Same thing for programs or courses. The thing is that very often the universities may have programs that they are very famous for. So like in Russia, for example, you would often have a university name like HSE. That's great. That's wonderful. But then you do not think about the particular program. For example, in the United States, well, we don't have partners in the United States, but for example, in Europe or in Asia, sometimes it is the program that may be even more famous than just the name of the university, because it has the first ranking among similar programs. And that's how actually you sometimes, see the rankings. And also you can look at specific courses, especially if you have a choice of courses. So at this point you can write which courses would be especially helpful for you. And here again, you make a connection with the previous paragraph. So in the previous paragraph, you kind of related your past, how you were interested in a particular area, how you have taken certain courses, how you have done certain research projects, but something is lacking, something is yet missing. Like you need extra information, you need extra expertise, and you say, here you are. Here you have this wonderful course that fits exactly my expectations, that will fill this gap, right, that I'm having right now. And that's the idea. Just think about, presenting a course that fills the gap that you have in your knowledge and expertise. And after you have passed this course, you will be the greatest expert, right? That's what you think about. So how it will help you to advance in your field. And of course, somewhere at this point, also you have to mention the importance of networking and cross-cultural experience. So at this point, you say something about, you would have to say something about how, you know, you're planning, for example, to work in an international, for an international corporation, or that you're planning to be a global manager. And it is important for you to first acquire some cross-cultural competencies, to learn how to work in international groups, and also that you really hope that the great student community that you will meet at this university will help you to upgrade your network of you know, and find great friends, but also future business contacts. So that's where you actually kind of combine. If you look at this listing professors and mentioning the importance of networking, you kind of, you know, combine the academic aspect and the communication aspect, right? So those are always very important. We always talk about the academics and the community. So the next paragraph, and don't forget about, you know, paragraphing it, that should come in separate sections. In the next paragraph, you have to say how you will be a contribution to this university. What's there in your experience, in your maybe, you know, like cultural background, in your expertise also, that will bring something important, bring added value to your classes, to class discussion, right? Actually, here we also have some cliches, you know, added value to class discussion, but the specific things that you will have to explain how actually you will contribute individually. You have to, you know, dig for them in yourself. You have to think about, how will I be different from other students? How will, what's there in me that's valuable, that people enjoy? And I'm not only talking about, for example, a person being a great communicator, which is important, but like I said, something that is related to, you know, to your life, to your background, and so on. And then you have the closing of the letter. So those are the structural elements of your letter that you have to, that you absolutely ought to stick to. So as you see, we have kind of like 6 points here. So next thing is what exactly do you write in each of these points, and what cliches do you use? So starting with the greetings. In this case, probably you will not know the name of the person you're writing to, so you write dear sir / madam. Please make sure that you write both, right? Because we are politically correct in terms of gender. And when you write a motivation letter for us, do the same thing, okay? Although you know our names, still write like dear sir or madam. And don't forget also about the punctuation, right? The accepted way is either to write a comma or nothing. Actually, there are like at least two different possibilities. Then the next thing, introduction. So here, as you see, we have the cliches. I'm writing to express my interest in spending a semester at, and you write the university name, as an exchange student. I believe that the opportunity to study abroad in university name will be a great benefit to me and will set me miles ahead to reaching my academic goals, or will be a valuable input in my future career, or this experience will be invaluable in allowing me to reach my objectives, right? So here you kind of, you know, wrote everything about like the goal, what you want, what university you're applying for, maybe the program you're applying for, and that you hope that it will help you. So as you see here, we have mostly cliches, right? Then background. So here you give more specific things, but again, like everything that I have here in writing, that's, I mean, like the gaps are for your particular personal information, but everything that comes here in words, that's the cliches. So currently, I'm in my first, second, or third year of a master or bachelor program. Now, just remember what's important to know, that in English you do not say я на первом курсе. You say I'm in my first year. На втором курсе I'm in my second year, right? So that's like correct in terms of English. Majoring in, that is your, like, for example, business management, right? Or market analytics and marketing and market analytics. So you write your major, that is your concentration. I have always dreamed of becoming or I have always been interested in, and you say what it is, like maybe, you know, marketing or I don't know, leadership, or so say what is it? What's the area of interest? Due to the fact that my interest is connected with the fact that I am particularly interested in the factors that contribute to. So here you see, you kind of explain why you're interested in it, right? You give some like specific information about it. But again, as you see, all the phrases that introduce this personal information are cliched. So as to get a better understanding of this field, in order to explore this area further, I decided to consider the for example, the university or the program, and started working on, or decided to engage in a research project on the topic of, right? To dig deeper, I took an elective course or several elective courses on, and you write the area where I came top of my class. My internship with blah, blah, blah also helped me to gain experience or to learn about new approaches, techniques, in, again, the area. My project was nominated for, was awarded, the findings were published in. So what do you see here? We have this, explanation, like where you study, why you're so engaged in this topic, what you did that helped you actually acquire extra information, what helped you to become more or less an expert in that, and then you kind of prove that you're an expert by providing information about your GPA, about your awards, and so on. So that's all about the past background, and you see the cliches that you can use to introduce your personal information. So next one. Okay, just a second. So next one, your future plans. Searching for an exchange program that could provide me with a more profound understanding of the area of my interest, I realized that, and you name the program or the course or the professor. So that's where you actually say that you've done your research and you want to go to this particular university. So I realized that such a program is a perfect fit. I believe a dive into such topics as and you can here name specific courses from the university of your choice, will help me to understand better the field I want to specialize in. I especially appreciate that. And you like say something about the university and you explain why you're so interested. So here that would be really nice to figure out what the university is specifically proud of. So, every school prides itself in, for example, I don't know, having a great practical orientation, or providing you with lots of possibilities, opportunities to do project work, or maybe they have a great internship program. So just find what they are proud of, what they have invested into, and compliment them on that. Say them that that's exactly why you want to join them. That's a very good way to, to attract attention and to show people that you are interested in them and not just, in any kind of exchange program. So after that, we have the contribution. I also look forward to an enriching interaction with my classmates at blah, blah, blah university, hoping that a different approach to some kind of area in Russia, as well as my work experience, will help me to contribute to class discussion and group projects. You say like what you have, like I said from the beginning, right? When you talk about the contribution, your cultural background, your life experience, your maybe some interesting projects or internships that you were involved in here at HSC, how it actually can contribute to the class discussion and to teamwork at the university. And the closing, I'm sincerely hoping that the admission committee sees my strengths and background fitting with the requirements of this blah, blah, blah university for its exchange students. I look forward to hear from you soon, faithfully, and your name. Here I just have to remind you of one very simple rule about business correspondence, is that if you start a letter with no name, that is, dear sir or madam, you have to finish the letter with the word faithfully or faithfully yours. If you start a letter with a name, that is, maybe you will have found the name of the person you're writing to, for example, dear Mrs. Lastry, then in this case, you will have to finish the letter with the word sincerely. But since we had in greetings, dear sir or madam, so here you would have faithfully, right? That's a kind of a funny traditional connection between the greetings and the closing. Okay. So maybe I would just stop for a second here, because that's the end of the part about structure and cliches. And I'd like to hear any questions about that if you have any. Is everything clear about the structure and the cliches?
Sorry, can you show one more time the introduction cliches?
Yeah. You can also write here your name and your university affiliation. That's also very common, because it could also be seen as the gist of the letter. Or you can leave it to the second paragraph. But you could also say, my name is, and I'm a first-year student at HSC University Graduate School of Business. And I'm writing to express my interest. That's also a possibility. Okay, any questions about it? You will have that in recording, so you will be able to stop and look at it anymore. So do you have any questions about it?
Yes, I have a question.
Hello.
To whom we are writing exactly this letter? To the admission officer in Russia, or to the admission officer in the university that we want to go to?
Okay, this letter comes with the pile of documents that you have to submit in order to be nominated for the program, to go through the selection process. So in this case, you're writing it kind of to us, but it is addressed to the university of your choice. So do not name us here, like it's still dear sir or madam. And if you have 3 universities, then you have to write to like 3 different letters to the 3 universities.
And will a representative from the universities we want to go to anyhow see our package of documents? Or it is only our decision
It
on
is
our
only,
side?
yeah, it is our decision. So we're looking at how professional your motivation letters are.
But in fact, when you apply to after you've been nominated, you still complete the application at a partner university, and a motivation letter is a crucial part of your application. So in the end, your addressee is the partner university, so they will see this motivation letter.
So it first goes through, it first goes, I mean, you're selected for the program on the basis of this letter that we see, that we are the only ones to see at the first stage. But later on, when you're nominated, it is used as the pack of documents that is sent to the university of your choice and to which you will be nominated.
I also have a
hello.
Sorry.
I
also have a.
Yeah, I'm sorry. Is there word limit restrictions are strict, or is it allowed to write a little bit more words?
Usually it's limited to 1 page, so basically 250 words, like your regular essays is good. But if you write up to 300, that's still okay. So I'd say 250 to 300 is a good size for a motivation letter.
It's weird because on the website I found information about how 500 words.
On our website.
Yeah.
Yes, on the website it's 500 words, but it's still within 1 page.
Okay, thank you.
And I also have a question, not directly related to the theme, but I think it's close. So I think I'm wondering if, so I see that when we are writing a motivational letter, we need to have for free universities. But in case of recommendation letter, do we need to have free in terms of academic mobility, not like a master's degree, or we just will be fine with one from our academic manager or something like this?
No, a recommendation letter is always written just as one sample. You don't write several because usually at the top of the recommendation letter you just have to whom it may concern, and it's rather your strengths and well, mostly strengths are presented, and they are not related to a particular university, right, Ekaterina? I mean, I don't think that we see it differently.
Yes. It's just one recommendation letter that that a person who recommends you basically recommends you to participate in an exchange program or in any other mobility program, that they know you well enough to basically give you a good recommendation.
Okay, I get it. And also I have one more question, if it's possible. I'm wondering about these blanks, which are with our symbol of HSE. Are they presented anywhere to make it official?
You mean for the recommendation?
And for the motivational letter, I see that. I thought that we need to write it on a special blank or something like this.
No, as you're a student, you do not have to write a motivation letter on a head paper because, well, you're not exactly an official representative of the university, so that's completely okay. As for the recommendation letters, we actually do accept recommendation letters on a not head paper also, so that's not a necessity.
Okay, I get it. Thank you so much.
Well, maybe I just move, I should move further because I'm not done yet, because we just talked about how to make the letters professional and just a few words about how to make them memorable and unique, right? And after that, again, maybe if you have some extra questions, we'll try to answer them. So to make a letter unique and memorable, you have to be specific. That's the first thing. You have to provide facts, right? Because without facts, all the letters will look exactly the same. So how do you provide facts? First of all, you're trying to be very specific. I'm top of my class. I have GPA 8.45. I have taken classes in, and you just name particular classes. I've been involved, or maybe even I supervised a project work of a team project work, and you say exactly what the project work was about. Maybe I did research and wrote a paper on the topic of. So be very specific, right? Exactly what makes you stand out. But also when you're specific, just make sure that you organize your information logically. That is, for example, here you have an example of a letter where you have a kind of a logical connection between points. I have been involved in several international research projects. Okay, that's the main point, right? What you want to say, that probably you have some cross-cultural expertise. But then you have to provide specifics. That is, Global Smart Cities project with students from Hamburg, Shanghai, and Los Angeles. International Sustainability Week with students from 120 countries in Antwerp. Financial analytics with a team from ACP Business School. So here you have provided specific examples, specific facts. But first you stated like what was similar about these facts, right? And all those projects, they're all international. That's what brings them together. And then you kind of, say like why you mentioned that, what's the point? How will it change my understanding of who you are? This experience provided me with an insight into what it means to work in an international team and how face up to cross-cultural challenges, right? So you show how you benefited from it. What was the result of that? So you see here the information is not just sporadic, but it is all connected, logically connected, right? The second thing that makes your letter stand out and that makes you memorable is your personal touch. So be unique and memorable and use some kind of storytelling. And don't think that people are not interested. They actually are. For example, being a part of the international Thèse movement, my family hosted guests from Italy, Slovenia, Germany, and France. I mean, one thing is that it's like very specific, but also it's like, what's Thèse movement? Oh, your family had like, oh, people lived in your house. That's interesting. Or since 2016, I have been involved as a volunteer in Rimini Meeting, a student festival organized by the Christian movement Comunione e Liberazione. How interesting. You were a volunteer. That's great. And that's some kind of a Christian movement. Okay. Or I'm a member of HSC Press and the University Television Club and the permanent columnist for the High Point, the HSC student bulletin, covering all the main recreational events and activities at our university. Okay. You are a writer. You can write columns. You can probably be part of our, I don't know, newspaper or university column. So as you see here, you kind of tell things that not just specific and factual, but also that make people remember you. And if you even are able to tell a story about your life that shows how unique you are, for example, I don't know, having a Russian mother and a Kazakh father, and having spent my childhood in Dagestan, I can say that I'm someone with a lot of cross-cultural experience, right? I mean, wow, that's cool. I mean, I made it up, but it's just, it sounds cool. It sounds very interesting. It sounds like that's some person that I would like to talk to, that I would like to meet. So right now, I would like you to look at this passage and tell me what's wrong with it, and find some I mean, maybe it's not specific, maybe it's not logically organized, maybe there are some problems with cliches. So guys, can you read it and tell me what's not so good? So, any ideas?
There aren't any information about why exactly this university is the perfect choice for this student.
Okay, what else?
I may be wrong, but it looks like his or her problem is not as big, that the only instrument to cope with it is joining an international exchange program.
Like the question is not obvious, right? Why actually? Like the information is not really connected, right?
She didn't describe her future participation in class discussion also. It's one point of the...
Right. Okay. Well, but even, for example, if you imagine that that's the kind of paragraph that presents just the background, not the future, but the background and the interest of the person, you probably see the mistakes here as well, right? Can you see the mistakes? So that's also a good example of why actually your motivation letter may be turned down, because you have to really check it for spelling mistakes and for grammar mistakes. Okay, so can you look at this and say why this version is better than the previous one?
I think from this passage is easier to understand why this person needs an opportunity to take part in the exchange program. It's more clear here, like more explanations and more concrete things.
Good, yeah. Anybody else?
I guess we can see more linkers and logical connections between each point.
Exactly. And that's exactly what we call storytelling, right? It's like, it's not just, like a bunch of facts, right? But you have a story. Like when I started my internship program at Marvel, so a person went somewhere to do internship, and that was difficult because I had some questions that I didn't have answers with and for. And what kind of questions were there? Oh, what attracts attracts people in advertising? So she kind of lists the questions, and you imagine the person who is sitting thinking, I don't have the answers to that. So what did she do? She went and started looking for courses that would help her to answer those questions, and she got some answers. And actually, her way of finding those answers was quite interesting, right? Because it was about humor. Humor, that's kind of an emotional reaction to advertising, right? And then still probably it wasn't enough. So to deepen this knowledge, this expertise, she found the university that is the perfect fit for her research, for her for her interest in advertising. So exactly, as you see here, actually, we have a lot of facts, we have a lot of specifics. They are very logically presented, but we also kind of have a story about a person who struggled with an issue and who found a solution to this issue. And the university and the exchange program are part of this solution, right? So it's easier to remember like that, because you have a story about a person who comes alive, through this passage, right? That's exactly what we call storytelling. So just as the last part, I suggest that you look through a sample letter, that's a good one. That's the one that you could actually, I used some pieces of it, and think about, what's good about it and how you could, think about events from your life that would be kind of similar to this letter and that would make you stand out. Okay, so couple of minutes to read it. Sorry. Did you finish it? Sorry for the last line, the oldest university in the Western world. Okay, are you done?
Yes.
Okay, so this is more, to give you an example of how it looks like when it's all connected, when the whole letter is structured, uses cliches, and at the same time has this personal touch and is memorable because it shows a person who stands out, right? Who's different. And you also see the compliments to the university. Obviously, I mean, it's easy to make compliments to the University of Bologna, but it shows actually why the person is interested in particular programs, courses, and why the choice of Bologna University is not random, is not accidental, right? So, any comments on this letter? Or is there already like clear because it fits in with everything we talked about? Any comments?
Is it okay when in one paragraph there are a lot of questions and I don't understand the logic of these questions. We don't answer for them. And what's the main idea of these questions? So it's the third paragraph, I guess.
Yeah. Well, I would say that it's one way of stating that you have a knowledge gap, that there are certain issues that you would like to explore. So one way is to answer the questions. Actually, the connection is between those questions and the courses. So if you see, for how do the ex-Soviet countries develop and pursue domestic policies, what is their role in the larger European community? So here you have for example, social and welfare policies and cultural economics and management, right? So that's the kind of the course, which in its content, because actually the student should look at the content of this course and kind of connected the content to those questions, So you see here this, this travel through the post-Soviet space. Here are the questions or the interest in particular areas that connected with this, background. And here are the courses that will help to answer those questions. So actually those could be, you could put the third and fourth paragraph as you could make them one paragraph. That's a possibility, but that's the idea. So you kind of show your interest. You can do that in the form of the questions, or you can do them. You can do that in the form of like stating your interest. So for example, here we have gender and social movements in Southeast Europe. You have here, you see another important aspect for me as a woman is gender policies and the role of a woman. So you see the connection, right? So knowledge gap.
Thank you.
In form of just stating what you're interested in, what you would like to explore, or questions. Yeah, you are free to choose the approach. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, ask a question. Maybe it's a little bit tricky, but I always think when I write a motivation letter that probably I have some information that I already mentioned in my CV, for example, especially like volunteering activities or my work experience that makes me stand out. And I always think, is it okay to do this kind of like twice? So you say it in a CV and then you say it in your motivation letter, or it's better to go beyond the CV as much as possible so that I just add up the information to the CV?
No, absolutely not. Don't think about it. A CV is just, for a person to look at one page and see as much about you as they can. So it has to be very concise, and it's really, it lacks this, personal touch and the emotional impact. And that's where actually a motivation letter comes in. So absolutely not. If you want to expand or elaborate on what you mentioned already in the CV, but using more specific examples, then that's perfect. Yeah, don't be afraid about that. I mean, I would say that, you know, the CV, also the CV, it's more rigid. It's more limited in terms of the choice of the facts that you want to mention, right? Because more or less, I mean, what do you say? Well, you say where you have worked, you say where you have studied, you mentioned your, you know, maybe your achievements, okay, prizes and awards. Well, a couple of words about maybe your personal interest, but that's it, right? So even the parts of a CV, they are very rigid. While a motivation letter actually provides you with the possibility to go beyond that, right? And to show something that would be more interesting to read about and that would make it more personal. I mean, honestly, you know, it's amazing. In my experience, because I have been, you know, teaching how to write motivation letters and all kinds of essays for universities for like a long time. And I would say that I have encountered two issues or two problems. The first problem is that Russian students, well, I know probably we don't have exclusively Russian students here, right? But what's specific to Russian students is that they do not see any value in themselves. And sometimes you see like a person who's outstanding, who's great, whose experience is just wow. And they say, no, I'm just like, I haven't done anything special. No, I don't know anything special. So it's very important that you kind of, you know, reflect on that. You think about yourself as somebody who's interesting, who's unique, you know. Think about why people like to spend time with you, why they like to work with you, why they like to study with you, what's different in you from others. And when you kind of think about it, well, write about it in an interesting way.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome. So, any more questions? Yeah, and actually I said like two issues, right? And the second issue is that amazingly, but that's exactly what makes you memorable. That's exactly what the readers of motivation letters are looking for. They're looking for anything that's special about you, anything that stands out, you know, any experience that that is not common, that's different. So, any more questions? Well, maybe then just can I hear from you guys, like just a couple of things about what you would like to write about and what do you find different? Yeah.
I have a question. Is it possible to find any templates for CVs or motivation letter? I mean, essay templates or something like that?
I'm not sure that we have HSC templates. Otherwise, there are lots and lots of templates on the internet that you can use. I mean, if you're talking specifically about the formats, right? The template.
That's for sure. I meant the ones that are from the HSC, maybe some standard templates or something like that.
I'm not sure. Ekaterina, do you know any HSC template?
Only for recommendation letter, but that's old. I guess that's an old one, but maybe there are new ones. I mean, the blanks or something like that, where we can write motivation letters or recommendation letters.
Are we talking about letterhead paper again?
Yeah.
Yes, letterhead, right? Letterhead. Yeah, not the blank is in English. Blank is pustoi, so it's letterhead letters, right?
Yeah, I meant like blank templates. Nothing is written. Only the I don't know, some symbols of the university or something like that.
Yeah, well, as I said before, for your motivation letter, you do not need to use letterhead paper. As for your CV, also for the recommendation letters, well, if the person, a professor or your academic advisor has such a template, well, that's okay. If they don't have such a template, that's also okay. So we do not require it, as that is not required by our partner universities. So that's okay.
All right, thank you.
So maybe from anybody, just we can try it out to see like what kind of interesting fact about yourself you could mention to see how it stands out. Anyone? Guys? Yeah, you see, it's like that. That's the problem, being shy, right? So Elmira, I mean, since yeah.
I can try.
Okay, Ksenia.
So I've had an experience working in a project, a HSE project, and there I've been a manager of a group of approximately 30 people, and there were a few students from China, Vietnam, Uzbekistan, and a few people were from master's programs, so they were older than me, and it was often difficult to kind of communicate. I don't know, they didn't know Russian pretty well, so, and there were also some Russian students who didn't know English very well, so there was a need to find a connection between them, build a team, a real team, and it was quite sometimes difficult but very interesting experience, and I'm proud of it, and I really enjoyed working with all these people.
And you were the coordinator.
Yeah.
Wow, I mean, yeah, that's very impressive. Yeah, I would, for example, speaking about that, to make it into storytelling, I would suggest that you state right away, the challenges, that you would say that you coordinated the work of a group that was very diverse in terms of cultural background, languages, age, gender issues, and even level of education, right? And then you would say that there were people from different countries, and you name them, and then bachelors and masters, aged from and to, and so in this way, you would state right away what was the challenge, the diversity of the group, right? And then you name exactly who they were, and I mean, like, what was the diversity about? And then you end up with saying that what you drew out of it, right? What kind of what it taught you, right? What kind of skills it taught you? Yeah, wonderful. Great story.
Very nice.
Okay, well, maybe one last. I just want to say that, I mean, I'm afraid that after Ksenia, everybody will say, "Oh, my experience is not so great." So just don't think about that. Just have, try to see your experience and your expertise and the skills that you have as something really valuable, and sometimes also think about how to present them in the best way. Sometimes the way you account for those things is also very important, and also can make it more memorable than just a simple way of telling it. So a great story and a great account of it. Well, I think that then at this point we can finish it up. Thank you, guys. I mean, that was a great time with you, and thank you for being so interactive and asking questions and responding. And I really hope that we will receive great motivation letters from you. So
ask.
Yeah.
May I please ask a couple more questions?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, I would like to ask, you said that we can call in the letter our courses. I think it's extra courses that we were passed. And so we we name them in our CV, and in our motivation letter, we name them only if we would like to tell something special about them, right? Oh, no?
Right. It's like a story about yourself, what you're interested in, especially if you can draw some kind of a connection between your field of and your area of interest, how actually you chose some like elective courses and projects to, to further to advance your expertise in this field, and how actually the program and the courses in your receiving university will even improve or upgrade your expertise in this field, right?
Thank you. And so it's 350 words or 500? I didn't understand.
Oh, well, yeah, sorry, 500. Yeah, 500.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. No more questions? Well, then, okay, I think we can wrap it up, and we wish you a good day, and we'll be expecting from you great motivation letters. Okay, bye-bye.
Goodbye.
Thank you. Bye bye. Goodbye.
Thank you.